Hello YouTube. I just wanted to make another video since I went to the Goth Club for Halloween. I went to the club, it was successful, it was absolutely terrifying because I went by myself. I had organized a taxi before, I didn't even think I was going to be able to go because someone was like, oh, try Uber Driver, and the only way I can really do Uber Driver was through this app, and I couldn't figure it out. My aunt tried it. She tried calling up a friend. We just couldn't figure it out. I was like, what the hell? So I finally just caved in and I called a taxi driver. He ended up being really nice and hilarious, and we talked the whole time there, talked the whole time back. He was fascinated that, I'm a part of the goth subculture, and he asked me, what is that? And I explained to him what it was, and he thought I looked really cool. So, it was a really successful night. Now, when I got to the club, lots and lots of people lined up on the outside. The costumes were just absolutely fabulous. There was just so much people there. We didn't just have the goth clubbers that were there. We also had people that were like college kids and like tourists, excuse me, that came into the club because it's a Halloween event. And unfortunately, we do get tourists that come in there because they just want to see what us freaks do. Um, but it was still amazing. They had beautiful, beautiful female dancers. One of my friend's daughter is a female dancer, and she was absolutely amazing. Her name's Sheena. She owns her own gothic clothing store down here in Florida. Um, and she looked absolutely beautiful. She actually makes her costumes and makes her outfits and stuff, especially her go-go outfits that she wears when she dances in the club. She has these beautiful leather dragon wings and big horns and just chains and PVC gloss. It was just gorgeous. And that club, it was like being swept to a different world. It's very different from the one I went to in Ohio. So I only went to one other goth club, or goth industrial club. This is also a goth industrial club, but the one I went to in Cleveland was very small, and it wasn't so magical. It was just kind of rinky dinky, and a lot of people didn't want to talk to me, so I just kind of felt a little out of place. But I ended up making some very decent friends after over Facebook that used to be club goers but stopped going because of drama, and then they started going again, and unfortunately I wasn't able to. But I still do, stay in contact with those people. But anyways, there was just like a lot of normal people that were coming into the club here, but it was not like the one, like I said, it wasn't like the one in Cleveland. It was very magical. Like there was gargoyles on the wall and flickering lights and candles, and it was all brick. And downstairs, it was all black light, and it was like with like it was like spooky, and it had like these old Victorian chairs like sat around the bar, and the bar was like lit up, and it looked like a ghost town. It was like really spooky and perfect. And there was like tapestries hanging from the ceiling, and like red beads, hanging from the ceiling. And the Halloween decorations were so amazing. They had Hellraiser, um, Pinhead. It was like a figurine of Pinhead, and there was like a red light on him, and they had all the Cenobites, and they had mummies and werewolves, stood up, and it was just perfectly lit. Um, but there was just so much people, it was very hard for me to dance. People were like right here. Like you could not really even like move your hands and swirl and stomp around like you would normally do on a normal goth night. Now, I've heard from my friend Alice, um, she said that normal goth nights aren't really like that. Yeah, there's still a little bit of muggles. That's what we call people that are outside of the subculture. Uh, but it's not as bad. But since it's a special event, it was insane. And I actually did get to dance once to Glow Sticks Neon and Blood by Incubite. And I was industrial dancing next to this other cybergoth dude, and um, this girl like walked towards me, and then I stopped dancing, and she stopped, and then I started dancing, and she walked past me, and I didn't see her, and I hit her in the boob, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm sorry. And she got mad at me, and I was like, well, you walked in front of me, and there's crap tons of people, so I'm not about to get upset over it, And she wasn't a normal club goer. It's like she just looked like she did not know what was going on. She must have been drunk or high or something. But the costumes were just, like I said, it's so fabulous. There was a lot of fetish people in latex vinyl and PVC gloss. There was beautiful, like, towering, gothic looking drag queens and club kids, and just really beautiful, strange people. And it was like being in a different world. And the whole place smelled like patchouli incense. Like, it was a very magical experience. I will most definitely be back at that club. The music was amazing. Um, the DJs were good as always. The really cool thing about the club is, upstairs in the ballroom is the main ballroom where a lot of the goths go to dance. And it's like a wooden floor and stuff, and it has the gargoyles, and it's all spooky and perfect. And there's also a bar, like, all the way back. Um, it's set up perfectly, and then there was a performance stage where there was fetish things going on, like a girl was getting electrocuted, and flogging was going on where she was getting whipped, and they poured fake blood on her. There was also people in the background getting flogged, like whipped and stuff, and you could hear it. It was loud while you were dancing. So it was a very interesting, ambiance, and it was something that I'm willing to experience again. It was amazing. Like when you go downstairs from the ballroom, once you exit it, when you go downstairs, there is a patio, and it's like kind of outside, and it was cool out and stuff, and there was fog, and there was shit tons of people, and me and my friend Alice were dancing. Um, I think, oh goodness, I don't remember the name of the song, but it was like one of our favorite songs, and we started, dancing to it, and it was a magical night. It was kind of stressful because there was a lot of people. Like I said, I was terrified. The girl I was supposed to meet up with, unfortunately, she didn't want to show up because she didn't have enough money to be spending for the night because the event was pretty pricey. It was $20 at the door, and it was a good thing I brought $20 because if I didn't, they were not accepting credit cards at the door. So it was an interesting night, most definitely. Also, you had to pay extra for water at the bar, and it had to be cash, which I didn't have. I only had a credit card, and ATMs were in the club, but I didn't use it because there was just too much people by the ATM smoking cigarettes and just being obnoxious. And they were people that were not your usual club goers. They were just people that were just like college kids. And I was trying to go towards the ATM, and one of those college kids stopped me, and he was like, "No, go!" And I'm like, "What?" So it was interesting. And I also had some college guy that was like drunk, and he came up to me and he was like, "Hey, I want you to scream at my friend as loud as you can, okay?" And I just stared at him with my makeup, like, intently, like, and just followed his, like, eyes, and he just ran. Because I was not dealing with that. But, like I said, just fabulous, fabulous outfits. 4 days. Also, downstairs in the bar, right by the patio, they had a coffin. It was a glass coffin, and it had, like, lights in it. You could actually take a picture in it. It was really cool. Um, and then they have the dungeon, and it's all chains. Like, the curtains are chains. There's spider webs they're chains, and they're in the shape of spider webs on the wall. There's like skulls and bones, and there's a big lounge area in there. And then they also have like these like jail cells, but like you have to have them reserved, like VIP reserved, I guess, because they're for pleasure or whatever. I don't know. And it was interesting because that ambiance was also really cool because there was a fetish thing going on down there where girls were kind of flocking each other. And, there was topless girls going around like it was nothing. And surprisingly, it didn't bother me. And there was also, a girl getting spanked. So, I mean, it didn't really bother me. It was a really cool atmosphere, and it was pretty interesting. The only thing that was really gross is I walked into somebody's fart when they were making out. That was classy. But other than that, it was a very, very nice night. It was very interesting, and I most definitely will be going back to that club. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a lot of footage for you guys because it was too dark. But I ended up meeting up with a girl named Alice, and we became close friends. Well, not close friends, but we are now more than acquainted, and we are friends now. And I most definitely will be meeting up with her in the future. So if you were watching this video, thank you so much for giving me a magical and wonderful night that I'll remember for the rest of my life. So that was my magical, crazy, fetish, taboo, masquerade ball Halloween event at my goth club down in Ybor City, Tampa Bay, Florida. It is called The Castle. So until next time, guys, thank you for sharing this story with me and listening in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.